Welcome everybody to my podcast, Big Little Small Talk. I'm Megan O'Hara-Sullivan and I love to talk, but I also love to listen. If you're new here, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you enjoy the episode. So Anahita, we met because we work together in my other life when I'm an optometrist.
Yeah.
But you're not working, you're working in that capacity, but you're doing something else. You're studying at the moment, aren't you? What are you studying?
At the moment, I'm studying a Bachelor of Biomedical Sciences at USQ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so that will then get you a job as a biomedical scientist, or have you got some other plans that you're working? Because sometimes people I know do biomedical science if they want to get into medicine or optometry, for instance. Is that what you're planning on doing?
Not really. So this is my second semester. So what I'm planning to do, I already have a bachelor degree, Bachelor of Nutrition Sciences from my home country, Iran. So I'm not qualified to work as a nutritionist here in Australia. So while I was just like thinking what I really want to do, because they told me that I have to do like some exams and stuff like that just to be qualified. As I always wanted to be like a dentist, I thought that I might just apply to study dentistry. So because I never studied anything in English, I just decided to start with Bachelor of Biomedical Sciences and do it for like a year and see how it goes. And then I've already applied for dentistry, so I'm gonna hear back from them in 4 months, hopefully.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm presuming then that you'd get some credits from your biomedical course when you go to do dentistry? I
don't think so. So yeah, I actually had a chat with a couple of people like me who they studied a bachelor degree before going to study dentistry, and they said they don't give any credits or anything like that for
And doing courses, studying in Australia, you said that this is the first time you've studied English, so you did your nutrition course in your home country in Iran in Persian?
Yeah.
Right. And so how has the degree been going in English?
Actually, what I thought that it's going to be pretty hard for someone like me. So obviously English is my second language, but it's been pretty good. I'm enjoying it.
What's been the most difficult part, do you think?
For me, assignments, definitely. Mm-hmm. Just academic writings and stuff like that. Yeah, it's a bit difficult for me. But I mean, they do give lots of supports in the library and
Mm-hmm. How do you go with the referencing?
They do have some guides online, so it's pretty good. But yeah, it was a bit confusing, especially on the first semester. But it's getting better.
It's getting better. And how did you go first semester?
So I studied 3 subjects in the first semester. I'm actually doing it full time.
You're studying full time and you're working full time.
Working permanent part time. Yeah.
How many hours a week is that?
28 hours per week.
Ooh.
Yeah. And studying full time, and also trying to going to gym every day.
Go to the gym every day.
Remain healthy and
And do you have any social life in amongst all of that?
Not really, to be honest. I'm just
Not too much socializing, all studying and all exercising.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about why you've got this passion to be a dentist. What's driving you to do that?
So my mom and dad, they're both dentists. And they both studied their degree back in Iran. And my dad is qualified to work here in Australia. He already did some exams. So he's a dentist here. He has his own dental practice. My mom is not qualified to work as a dentist here. So,
Are you allowed to work as a dental assistant if you're not qualified here? You can?
Yeah. You don't need any certification or anything like that for doing working as a dental assistant.
Mm-hmm.
I worked as a dental assistant for, I would say, almost 2 years. Yeah, in different dental practices.
Is that here or in Iran?
In Australia.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this your first attempt to try and get into dentistry?
It's not, no. So last year I applied to get in. I was just like, I'm just gonna give it a go to see what like prerequisites they need. And yeah, so I applied last year, but they actually told me that my GPA is not good enough. That's why I did, like, they told me to do the Bachelor of Biomedical Sciences just to improve my GPA. So now I have to just maintain a really good GPA to get into dentistry.
Right.
Yeah.
So had you applied in Iran as well to get into dentistry?
Yeah, so it's actually pretty competitive over there because of like a really big population. I did try to get into dentistry 2 times, but didn't work. Right. So I decided to just like study Bachelor of Nutrition Sciences.
Right. And what was the period of time between each? Could you only apply once a year?
Once a year. So
you
when
applied once?
Yeah, so when you're in grade 12, like you're 18 years old, at the very end, you have to do an entry exam for uni. So I did it once. Normally everyone, like every year 12 student, they do it only once, but like I did it twice. So I did it for 2 years and it didn't work.
And what did you do in the meantime, in between those 2 attempts?
Just studying.
You were studying the nutrition then? Okay, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just kept going. You thought, I want to have another go.
Yeah.
I just can't give the dream up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just such determination. I can't sort of imagine to have a dream that is out there and you just keep holding on.
Yeah.
So you probably don't really want to answer this because I know you want to stay positive. But
Yeah.
what's the plan B if in January? I don't want to be a downer and bring you down. But do you have a plan, or you just think I'm just not going to think about it?
Yeah, I really don't have any plan Bs because I was like, if I'm going to do it, because I'm actually at the moment I'm 25 years old, so dentistry is going to like take me 5 years. So I'll be like 31 when I finish. And so I was like, this is going to be my last chance. So if it's going to work, it's just going to work. Yeah. So I'm not thinking about anything else. But I do have my nutrition degree. So if it doesn't work, I might just sit some exams and
maybe do something with that.
Yeah.
And have you got, with the dentistry, is there something, where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself going back to Iran, or do you see yourself working in a suburban practice in Toowoomba, or
I would definitely, if I get a chance to get in and like finish it, I'll definitely come back to Toowoomba and maybe just like work in my dad's dental practice.
Just you've got a job.
Yeah.
And he probably wants to go on holiday sometimes. So tell me about growing up in Iran. How old were you when you came to Australia?
First, when we came to Australia, I was 7. So I think it was 2003, I would say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and what was the circumstances of coming out then?
We went to Sydney first when we came to Australia. My dad just wanted to see how's Australia like, how it looks like, how it feels like living in it. So we came to Australia. We stayed here only for 2 weeks, and we stayed in a friend's house. And he liked it, because I think when we first came here, we were definitely just on a visa, and we're just like, we liked it. So we went back, and he was like, okay, so I'm just gonna study, do my exams, and then we're gonna go back. So he studied a lot, did his exams, which were like really hard.
And how long did that take him?
I really don't know. I think
would it have been years or months?
Yeah, I would say like a year or like 2, because I do remember I was only 7, but I do remember that he always just like, he was always studying, and he said he sat there behind a table and like studied and stuff, and he was like, you always came next to me and you were like, stop studying, just like pay attention to me. And I was like, okay, I can't remember that. So then he did his exams and so he was a qualified dentist in Australia. So then he came back, went to Sydney, lived there for 3 years.
And you were still in Iran?
Yeah. So my mom, my sister and I, we were just like living in Iran, but like in summer in Iran, but it was just like winter here, we always came here like I went to school for 3 months, something like that, and then yeah.
Oh, so you were on holidays from school in Iran, but
Yeah,
you had to go to
yeah,
a school in
yeah,
Australia.
yeah.
That's a bummer. And how did you find that experience? Your English, would imagine, wasn't good at that stage. Did you speak any English?
Yeah, so we started learning English since we were 6, my sister and I both. My mom just took us to a private institute, and then we started learning English since we were 6 up until we were like 18, something like that.
So one thing to learn English in at an academy in Iran. So you plonked in a school in what suburb in Sydney? A state school, was it?
I think it was, it was Campbelltown, but I can't remember the school.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so you went, you were in what grade was that?
I think 4th grade of primary school.
Okay, so you were in the 4th grade.
Yeah.
You go along to school. Do you wear a uniform when you go?
You
got the uniform to go. And tell me about the experience of going to school there.
It was pretty good. I was like pretty excited about it, but kids just, I don't know. I don't know if it was because of my look or like, because I definitely look different from Australian people. They really didn't like me, or maybe because it was just like my English was not as good as them, or so.
It was terrifying, was it?
Yeah.
And sad?
It was a bit, So, because I was a really kind kid, like really popular kind kid, back in my home country. Kids, they really loved me when we went to school. I really liked to help other people, so I had lots of friends. But then when I first came here and went to school, nobody liked me, and they were a bit, I don't know, rude and mean.
Well, it makes me so sad to hear that, to think of you sort of as a little girl going to school and not being able to understand it, but you knew that the vibe wasn't good, and and you would have been so lonely.
I only had one friend, and she was really nice, but other kids, they didn't like me.
Right. And by the end of your 3 months, were you starting to settle, do you think?
I mean,
not really.
The thing is that so I actually, the good point about going to school in Australia was that we didn't get to do lots of homeworks, whereas back in my home country we just had to do lots and lots of homeworks, and it was just pretty, it was pretty hard for us to go to school there. So whenever I came to Australia, went to school here, I was like, I really like school because I didn't have to do lots of homework.
Right. So what was your schedule like in Iran? You had a lot of after school you would do.
So we definitely had to do lots of homeworks every day, and we need to prepare for the next day. So so we didn't have lots of free time. We were just studying and whereas when I went to school here, it was just we had lots of fun. We were always just playing sports and so we didn't have to do lots of homeworks. We only had I don't know, we only had one homework per week,
right?
And that was it.
Heaven. Your sister, your older sister Fanush, is 3 years older than you, is that right? So what was her experience like coming to school in Australia?
I think she had a better experience than me, because she was older than me. I think the other students around her, they were just more understanding and So
were you at the same school together?
No, just the schools are pretty close, but I went to primary school, she went to secondary school. So I think she loved it because she was learning how to play guitar, she was learning how to speak Italian and lots of cool things. And I was okay, it seems you're enjoying it more than me.
That reminds me of a story. When my kids were little, they were in daycare. I went back to work and I came to the daycare centre and they were in different age groups, and I came there and I could see them. They were separated by like a pool fence, and the one was sitting on one side of the pool fence and one was sitting on the other side, and they were just sitting there holding each other's hands. Like, honestly, it nearly broke my heart to see them. I know, it was so sad, and I just feel for your parents. Like, I know that they would have thought it's a really good experience for you to be doing this, but then you'd come home and you'd probably be trying to be very upbeat and, it's great, you know, we're doing sport. But, you know, if you're not accepted by a group. And do you think that taught you anything in terms of going back to Iran, in terms of accepting other kids that came to your school then, or how you treated other people?
I was pretty nice to all of the kids at my school in Iran. But, like, the thing is that when this happened to me at that time, I don't know, it made me just like when I'm going to a new place now, I'm a bit stressed because of that experience. I'm like, what if nobody likes me? What if I can't make any friends? It's just a bit stressful for me now.
Right. And you think it sort of stems back to that situation? So. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So did you only come to school in Australia once, or did you come out every holidays and have to go to school?
No, just once, but my sister went to school twice. Because, like, the first time when we came here, I was just like, I was 7. Then the second time we came here, I was about like 8, something like that. And I was just like, too young.
You just said, I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but like my sister went to school. Right. I think the second time we came to Sydney, we were in Chatswood. Yeah, and then we went to Campbelltown.
Right. Yeah. Oh, wow, what an experience. So are your grandparents still alive in Iran?
My grandma, but one of my grandmas, yes. But like the other one just passed away from COVID. 3 months ago.
Oh my goodness! Right. Oh, and do you sort of feel like a girl torn between sort of two places, that you're not Australian but you're not Iranian?
Exactly.
Tell me about that.
I call myself a non-Australian because I'm a citizen, but I'm not Australian. Like, it's a bit of I don't know. It's a different experience. It seems like you don't belong to Iran. At the same time, you don't belong to Australia.
When I'm at council and we're doing the citizenship ceremonies, I'm always looking at these people and just trying to imagine what it would be like for me being in their country and taking that citizenship. And I always feel so emotional about it, because I think, you know, taking citizenship in another country is a really big deal, I think. And it feels really good. Like, I'm pretty grateful, but it's just like, it seems like you're missing some parts of I don't know how to just explain it. It's just it's different. Do you feel almost a little bit sort of disloyal, or you just sort of feel like, no, this is where we are and this is what we're doing, and now I'm an Australian citizen. Do you find people in Toowoomba are there's a good multicultural mix, that no matter, they might not be Iranian, but they're people from somewhere else and so accepting of you?
I would say when I go to Brisbane, I find it more like multicultural compared to Toowoomba.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Because like they're not. I wouldn't see I don't really see that many people from different cultures in Toowoomba.
Oh, see, you're not getting out enough. You're studying, you're working, you're going to the gym. I know what the problem here is. We need to get you to somewhere where there's lots more people from other countries, I would imagine. Okay, well, that's been very interesting. And I went to Iran a few years ago, which was an amazing experience. I think I'm really glad I'm glad I went anywhere, really, because I don't think we'll be going anywhere anytime soon. Yeah. But I had this misconception, of course, turned out to be a misconception, that there was going to be armed people on every street corner, and that my scarf would go too far back on my forehead, and the morality police would be over and sort of telling me, being frightening. But it was an incredibly beautiful place. We went up into the mountains where people were living in little caves, and then down into the metropolitan place of Tehran, and how cosmopolitan that is. Yeah. Give me a sort of a sense of your perception of the differences between living living in Iran and living in Australia? What's the sort of the first thing that comes into your mind?
It's pretty different, like living in, because the thing is that we're living in Toowoomba, which is not a really big city, comparing like to Tehran, which is the capital city. It's just it's just like, it's really different. We were all living in Tehran, which is like, it has like a population of 20 million.
Whoa.
So it's so crowded and everybody's just like in a rush. Everybody's just like running around, but it's a beautiful city. I love it. I mean, I lived in it for 23 years. Compared to Toowoomba is just like so beautiful, so quiet, and like you can go to wherever you want in 10 minutes. I love it, because like in Tehran, if I wanted to go from our house to my grandma's, it took me like 2 hours, which was just like,
Is that on public transport or in
just driving in our own car?
Within the same city. Okay. And what about the sort of the restrictions in terms of young people and sort of going out and drinking and all of those sorts of things? Has that been
completely different?
So tell me about what young people. We noticed that there was a very big picnicking culture in Iran. People love to go for picnics.
The thing is that we love to just like gather in groups and like have fun. Whereas what I see in Australia, I think people like to do their own things on their own. Like they would like to just like climb the tabletop on their own. But what we like to do is just like go and do it in groups. I don't know if it's the right thing or not.
I'd say like in terms of, we were so conscious of the way that we would, particularly me as a woman, how I was dressed and those sorts of restrictions. Did you feel that was weird, coming from a country where there was a lot of restrictions to virtually seeing people in bikinis in shopping centres?
So the thing is that when we first came to Australia, the thing is that I was like pretty lucky that I grew up in a family that like we were always traveling to different countries. So when we first came to Australia, it wasn't my first time going to another country. So it wasn't pretty like different to me. I used to see people in other countries like with the same style of dresses and like clothing and all of that, but the thing is that in Iran it's compulsory to wear hijab, so you have to cover yourself and all of that, which is like so different to Australia.
So are you wearing bikinis in the shopping centre?
Definitely not. I'm getting there.
That's only at Caloundra, I think, when you go on holidays. Lots of people in Toowoomba go to Caloundra for holidays and you start wearing your bikinis.
But it's pretty, like, you guys are, like, pretty lucky because, like, Iran is, in summer, it gets really hot. And, like, you have to cover yourself in, like, when it's just, like, 38 degree, 39 degree, and it's just, like, it's insane, just
even from a practical point of view. But what I remember when we were on our trip was the tour fellow was talking about the sanctions and the their relationship with America and all of that, and how the sanctions, is it the sanctions, are really restrictive, and but then, and I mean it's such an obvious old truth, but everyone across the world is exactly the same. There is nothing new under the sun. Everyone just loves their family. They love their neighbours. They want to live in a peaceful environment, and they just want their kids to get ahead. It's all just exactly the same, no matter where you go to, isn't it? So, well, Anahita, that's just been such a joy hearing about how you came to come and live in Australia and your ambitions for being a dentist. Somehow I feel like you're going to get there with your tenacity.
Thank you.
And if we can't, if we get to January, I don't know whether you should give up. I think you should probably keep going. It's a long time working, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even if you finish when you're 31, you might have another 40 years of working or something.
Hopefully. If I can get in.
If you can get in. It's the hard part, isn't it? No, we don't doubt that you can do it, but it's the getting in. It's just the competition, isn't it? Well, all the very best.
Thank you.
Maybe we'll catch up in a little bit and see where you're up to, maybe a couple of years down the track and see where you are.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's it for this week. Thanks for joining me on Big Little Small Talk. I hope you can make the time to join me next week. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on your favourite podcast app.